really looking forward for the Kimi if ever.
Yeah.
It won't be banned out here for Apbr. It could be a nice pick here for Aurora, even though technically it's a double marksman. It's still Harry here on the gold lane. But looking back, Rora actually is one of the teams most stable right now on their season. And if they want more stability, you could just go for the comfort picks, especially for Edward, sticking to the Esmeralda. And it's going to be Valentina Ben here for Apbr.
Let's see what the Aurora will get for Red 4. I think if they get a Kimi here, that's going to be a quote-unquote triple marksman lineup. They would need a really tanky hero on the side of Edward.
Yeah, I only think of two heroes here. It's either the Kimi or the Eve, so that you can have some supplement to this Kacha. But both of those heroes work. And we know that
there you go.
Kimi.
Okay.
And there's no way that you get a Lolita here if you're Apbr. You already have the Kalea. And the box just banned out as well. So almost all of the counter picks against these heroes are naturally taken away.
You can go cheesy here if you're Apbr. You can go for something like Amasha, or you can go standard using the glue so that you have some frontline for your team.
I agree.
Somebody that can play contact and sandbag so that the Kalea will have an opening. And when it comes to the mid lane choices, maybe Eve is left, maybe Kagura can be. Oh no, there's no Kagura.
It was respect banned here for Aqua. Or they could go for the Eve
CC
here for Apbr.
Lunox for... They do pick up on so the Lunox is good versus the Harry.
That's true, 100%. And the Ruby XP lane, we haven't seen this for the longest time. And if we look at Lord JM as an XP laner, if I'm being honest, he's one of the XP laners in our league right now willing to take off-meta heroes, such as like a Benedetta, or in this case, a Ruby.
Yeah.
And now if you're Aurora Gaming, you kind of don't want to take a glue here because the Ruby would just heal insane amounts every time you put that split on.
You need some Purify hero, maybe an Esmeralda.
Yep.
Arlot might work actually for Aurora, but they need some sort of frontline that can be sustainable. Yeah, so Esmeralda or Arlot.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Wait,
okay.
what?
Damn.
I could imagine Midnight's reaction with the Sirisla pick. Locking in here for Edward. But looking back, I do have a question. The last time that we've seen the Lunox was on the gold lane, right?
Yes.
So technically speaking, it's going to be the first time in a while it's going to be on the mid lane here for Aqua.
And that's going to be a big change considering that gold lane Lunoxes have more access to gold, in which case they could rush items like Sky Piercer and stuff. But for mid lane, how does the dynamic change here on a more team-wide line or team-wide macro lens here?
So it will be a lot slower for Apbr. In the early game, they don't have as much strength, especially when it comes to team fighting, unless of course X-Nova and Lord JM just pops off. Apart from that, it's going to be a very, very slow game for the side of Apbr. If they do keep their farm, if they keep their turrets intact, maybe just trade when the Lord fights happen. Maybe get some pickups. That could be a win for them.
Well, we're about to see what's going to happen in Game 1. Apbr versus Aurora Gaming. This is a best-of-3 series between the 7th seed Apbr and the 1st seed Aurora. Another David versus Goliath matchup here. And this is the classic setup for our games so far. Just clear the mid lane, and hopefully nobody gets poked out too heavily.
Yeah, and I was actually looking forward on our mid lane matchup, but before all that, expected for you with Kimi as well, but that continuous poke around here onto Apbr.
Well, at least he has some sort of healing coming in from his first kill if you're the Lunox, but it's really hard to fight against a Kimi, especially when that passive is up.
Okay, so I'm just looking at some of the skins actually. I'm paying attention. I believe that the Beatrix skin is not yet available.
Yeah.
And this is also not the M6 skin, right? For the Joy.
Yeah,
so,
I think it was just a tease.
It was just a tease.
During the hero select. But this is really interesting. Domenkaidi 2v1 scenario. Shizo still has that flicker.
There's a chase down. It's going to be the arrow hitting. Shizu will still survive. Regen activated. But if Dom or Shizu actually survives the 2-minute and 16 mark, he's safe. Because that's the first turret takedown and passes for this season, right?
Yep. Unfortunately, the gold cannon was denied away from Shizu. So
that's true.
Ooh, that's a big problem for Shizu.
And
now-
and I think James Max might be in trouble here. Light does have the revitalize, but
Wait.
Demon Kai!
Oh, that's going to be immobilized. First blood here for Demon Kite. Continuous damage here for Rora chasing down Nova. Demon Kite won an early double kill.
This is best case scenario for Aurora Gaming Wolf. 2 kills in the hands of a Yisun Shin.
Whew. And a disaster for AP Bren. When we said that the early game will be very slow for AP Bren, we meant that this will mean that they cannot team fight. And unfortunately, they forced the issue. They were the ones who tried to invade against Rora, and they paid the price.
Okay, that's a big vision coming here for Rora. Jumping in with a penalty zone. Penalized here. It's going to be James Max. The turtle is still alive. Lord Jim next Nova might go and try to delay things up, but for Aurora might be a short turtle here for Demon Kite.
Easy turtle here for Aurora Gaming. Not only do they secure the turtle, but they secure a kill as well in James Pax, severely damaging the early game of AP Bren here.
Ooh.
Wolf, you talked about AP Bren having a slow game. Are they having that right now? I feel like the pace is just out of hand.
Yeah. Whatever word there is to describe what is slower than slow, that is the word that we should use. And I don't know that word. Because for AP Bren, they were banking on the fact that James Pax can just go for invades or for some trades.
Now he can't.
Now he can't because he tried to contest twice against Rora. And
Well,
he died twice.
At least he tried, and I think that was part of the win condition for AP Bren. But now that that's off the table, Shizu will be able to survive. Nice rotation coming in from Next Nova. And it seems that Aurora Gaming, they're taking control of the early game, and the gold lane is no different. Level 4 for X Nova here, and they're going to go for another invade.
They have a different definition of slow here for AP Bren. Slow in terms of farming and slow in terms of rotation. And for Aurora, it's more the fast pace, and they're trying to accumulate as much as they can, especially onto trying to dwindle down what Shizu could offer for the early phases of her game.
Yeah, Shizu is definitely having a bad laning phase against this Harriet. I think early on he did win a couple of trades, but that early trade-off coming in from Demon Kite in the top lane just ruined the entire early game for Shizu here.
Imagine how easy was that for Aurora. Knowing that their matchup was Beatrix and Harith, they know that there is a little bit of a window for the Beatrix to own this Harith, but they completely deny that. And this just speaks to us how good of a Harith player Dominic Kite is and how good of a Harith team Rora is. They know the win conditions, they know the losing conditions, and they always adjust to that.
Yep, 10 seconds before the second turtle spawns. We do have a big item power spike here for the Beatrix, a Sea Halberd to limit the healing coming in from Aurora Gaming. The question remains, will AP Bren actually try to contest this turtle fight?
But let's see. They just handed over Aurora one of their keys to victory, very specific, onto Dominic Kite's Harriet, and now they're placing themselves here at the left bush mid. Aqua can do nothing but stare down.
Ouch.
And ulti might be forced out. Speaking of ulti, Lord J, I'm trying to go for the I'm a the play, getting caught here on the set ward. For Light just sustaining all of the damages. AP Bren, a lot of resources has been wasted, and no turtle yet here for James Max.
That's the second turtle going to the hands of Aurora, and it seems that they're not yet done. They still want a bit of plating here in the gold lane, and that's going to be a 2v2 up here top, and they're not going to continue with that fight. Still gets a couple more gold for Dominic Kite, a total win for Aurora Gaming.
And now they have inflated their lead to 3,000 gold.
So much. And we can see right now that even Shizu, with 3 members at bay, will they be able to catch Dominic Kite? But no is the answer. Demon Kite, on the other hand, helping out his Kite brother. Still not going for the run, but still, Aqua, that's the wrong move. That's a dead end. Demon Kite with a double kill as well.
And now you have a 4-0-1 Yisun Shin, 100% kill participation. This could not get any better for Aurora Gaming.
Fortunately for AP Bren, they do have some defense because of that wave clear coming out from the Beatrix, but that could easily be a third push from Aurora. And although they have taken down Dominic Kite, this is not really your only problem. Yisun Shin is already a problem. Getting
true.
4 and 0-1, you've mentioned this, only 5 kills where
Within
this
6
Yisun Shin-
minutes, by
within
the
6
way, that
minutes.
is insane.
Exactly.
Yep.
He is a part of. He is right now 1,000 gold or more than 1,000 gold above the Joy. And we know that the Yisun Chain, that snowball is a problem.
Okay, the Tsunami Slam cornering Edward, but on the other hand, that's going to be a cross map turret play here for Dominkite.
Turret for life and an XP laner. I'd say Aurora still won that trade. That's map control they established around the last turtle of the game as well. Now the mid lane looks to be the next target here for Aurora Gaming, but the orange side of AP Brand is already opened up. Shizo has to push this one, but 3 people from Aurora Gaming already walking up top, and here comes the AOG.
Okay, hitting Shizu right on the head right now. There's no time to follow up damage. Barrage will not hit anyone here for Aurora. That's a huge miss here for AP Brand.
Now the turtle has spawned. Shizo, Dominkite, Lord JM will be seeing each other around that river area. Big rotation here coming in from Aurora Gaming. It seems that AP Brand doesn't have enough firepower to actually contest this final turtle.
There's really no way for AP Brand to contest. And it's not advisable as well. Just go for the trades. That's exactly what they're doing. Yue now has the Sky Piercer and will now forever be a problem for the side of AP Brand. Even their jungle is getting invaded right now.
I do feel like that AP Brand adjusted their playstyle. They're a little more aggressive, but I believe it's a minute or 2 minutes late because Aurora already got most of the objectives. Plus, even on the vantage point here in the map, they couldn't place themselves in the position where they could surprise members from Aurora.
Yeah, to be fair, they did try in the early game. Sadly, the micro mechanics coming in from Demonkite just clocked in quite early as well. Did get that double kill that resulted into this very terrible snowball if you are AP Brand. But if you're Aurora Gaming, especially for those fans watching in the watch parties right now, they must be celebrating a stellar performance so far for Demonkite on that Yi Sun Shin. Again, this could not get any better for a Yi Sun Shin player to have 90% of the kills in a 7-minute game.
That's the dream, to get the numbers, plus they're able to take down turret after turret before the 8-minute mark.
And this is already disastrous for the side of AP Brand. And then when you're looking at their late game win conditions, they do have the damage. They have the Joy, which does output so much damage. Beatrix in combination with the Kalia has always been one of the staple combos, and there's so many things that you can do with it. But the big problem is, apart from the items, apart from the gold lead, the presence of Purifies on the side of Aurora.
You're right.
You have that in Yue. You have that as well in Dominkite, the damage dealers from Aurora. That is gonna be another issue that they have to solve.
There's just so little margin of error for AP Brand here.
Yeah, and even if they manage to get the perfect target with what happened onto Dominkite, at what cost, right? There was just too much of a consequence. Even if they were able to target the Tsunami Slam right on the right target, picking off, shutting down Dominkite that early, they just don't have the right answer yet for Demonkite.
Yeah, they kind of have to wait for a perfect team fight, if I'm being honest, because I feel like the power spike for AP Brand has already passed through, Wolf. For AP Brand, they wanted to win the early to the mid game, and obviously the lineup for the side of Aurora Gaming was meant to shine by mid to late game. But sadly for AP Brand, because of a lot of mishaps down bottom lane that gave kills to Demonkite, they've passed their power spike already. They need to find a team fight that actually is, I would say, a miscalculated fight here for Aurora Gaming.
That could be
really hard to do.
Yep, you're right. It's like waiting for a very stable team to make an error or mistake. And knowing the personality for Rora, they're trying to limit those things. And as much as possible here for AP Brand, they just need to hold on. But right now, Aurora is holding on to taking down objective. After objective, another takedown here on the turret of top lane.
Just looking at the potential itemization here for AP Brand, because there are 2 magic damage dealers on the side of Rora, and you only have to deal with this Yi Sun Shin when it comes to damage output. So maybe when it comes to itemization and just tanking through, maybe there is an option. And we also have to take note of Aqua. Maybe later on, this mid lane Lunox can pop off with the Flicker if he is able to secure kills with the Lunox bomb / the Ruby DD play. Maybe that could be a potential thing, because that doesn't, it does not care about your Purify. It's about your positioning.
Maybe.
That's true. And also, I think the ball is in the hands of Lord JM as well. Finding those targets. Yes, you do have like around 2 purifies of the 2 targets that you want, but burning those purifies is also one way to give Xnova the chance to actually pick off members coming in from Aurora Gaming as Aurora starts this first Lord of the game. And it seems that AP Bren, they're going to try to take this away, but the Lord is immediately secured by Demon Kai.
And one way and another, Aurora still gets the upper hand. Demon Kai with an unstoppable kill. In an instant, Aqua is down. We were just talking about how he can utilize just to remove the bits of the Purify here for you and even Dominkite, but that didn't happen at all. And now Aurora eyes another turret onto the turret here onto the mid lane, and they're not stopping there as they go forward and maximize the wave here onto their minions.
AP Bren looking shell-shocked against the offense of Aurora Gaming. They have a Lord up top, and they've already gotten a tower plus a kill with that Lord, and they're still not stopping in the mid lane. Here comes the Bennett's Rage, and looks like they will be able to defend mid lane, but the Lord Siege is still ongoing for Aurora.
This is just Lord number 1, and the fact that they have defended their mid lane turret, it's already mini W here for AP Bren. They just have to keep their inner turrets intact, or their base turrets, I think they're called.
Yep.
Yeah, they're tier 3s. They just have to keep those together.
Yep, huge gold lead here for Aurora Gaming, and it seems that they're setting up for a 3-way push. Nice defense coming in from AP Bren down bottom lane. Mid lane goes Pop, in top lane it seems like they're gonna go for Edward instead.
Okay, Xnova trying to start the fight, but it's going to be Aurora winning that one. Yue with the triple kill, making it a maniac. James Max is the only man left here. Will Yue get for the first savage? What a nice stun here for Aurora. Chasing him down, it's going to be a savage here for Yue as Aurora takes game number 1.
Mid laner of the week. Week 2 and week 3 back-to-back starts with a savage in week 4. Yue comes online by this mid-game victory.
And although the Lunox would have worked versus the tanky heroes on the side of Aurora versus the Harith maybe in the late game, in the early stages, it was clear that the mid lane duo or trio on the side of AP Bren, they're so weak and they're also making a lot of mistakes. Because of that, there was just no way for AP Bren to recover.
And that's just so hard if you're a Lunox that really wants to farm up in the early game or maybe even snowball to a certain degree. So we did see Yue also poking out the Lunox, especially early on. So this was in no way in the hands of AP Bren. The moment that they won or lost that first team fight, now we're moving towards a potential game number 2 where they have to hit that hard reset button. That was a really hard match for AP Bren. Before Aurora Gaming, our MVP of game number 1, it's going to be Yue playing that Kimmy that also scored a Savage. And correct me if I'm wrong, first Savage of Season 16.
That might, yeah, that is actually the first Savage. Starting with 91% kill participation. I wonder which kill was was he not part of. But obviously this is mainly because of the early game and the draft that we expected from the side of Aurora. We recommended the bans for AP Bren to be Valentina and the Kimi. But they did ban out the Valentina and they left off the Kimi. I thought that they had an answer, but they didn't have it, especially without that Kagura. And it was very clear from the start that AP Bren were fighting in terms that will always be favorable for Rora. Like, I think this was the biggest mistake from AP Bren. They already lost the double buff on James Max because of that first death on James Max.
Yeah.
And they still tried to take that turtle. It was ill-advised, and it was really the biggest problem here for AP Bren.
I feel like for Aurora Gaming, they kept it simple too. They didn't go in for any fancy wombo combos. They went in for the Terizla that doesn't really require a lot of money to go online. Yes, the Terizla did suffer one death early on, but to be fair, the mere presence of the penalty zone just made sure that James Pax couldn't even enter the premises of early objective fights.
Yeah, and also to add up onto the draft, I know they have good intentions onto banning out the Valentina and letting go of the Kimi, but Lunox likes, to be honest, they're more unorthodox picks or pocket picks here for Aqua if ever. But the Lunox just ain't it. Especially if you want to go for the snowball. Against Kimi, that is really hard to do.
That's true. I mean, this Kimi already secured a Sky Piercer as well that helped him to get this Savage. And Yue definitely showing up ever since week 2. He has been playing in a very high level in this very quick game in this Game 1 Best of 3 series. An 11-minute game, Apbr losing out in the early, and Aurora Gaming just making sure that their late game power spike comes in before the 12-minute mark.
And it's mainly because of how they rotated around the map, especially with the defense from Demon Kite. Demon Kite participated in 2 important fights before the turn.